Hey guys, Devall here from ToyWorldOrder.com. We just passed the Kane County Doll and Toy Show. It usually takes place twice a year, once in April and once October, and we just had it just this past weekend. And of course, like always, I myself journeyed to Kane County along with Pixel Dan, along with my good buddy Dave Draper, and we journeyed there to spend some money, find some toys, hang out with some great friends like Brad and Stacy Rader and all kinds of great people. And of course, just like every toy show, I tend to find quite a bit of cool little stuff that is unique to my collection and is really a lot of fun. One of the things I found, and I'm going to show you all of it today, one of the things I found actually were these two little discs. And for people not familiar with what these are, these actually go to a New Adventures of He-Man figure, more specifically Discs of Doom Skeletor, and these are his two Discs of Doom, which are kind of tough to find. I found a Disc of Doom Skeletor with his weapon, but of course missing his discs, and the one disc fits onto the weapon there, and you can actually pop the other disc right onto his back here, right into the little hole there, and it just plugs in there, and he's got his discs. And then of course, by setting him up here, if I can throw it at the camera here, ready? And then, I saw where it went. It's all right. So I found both Discs of Doom for my Discs of Doom Skeletor. So I was able to complete Discs of Doom Skeletor, which is awesome. It's a great figure, by the way. It's an awesome figure. All right, I found some other cool stuff. Keeping with the He-Man line, I actually managed to find, for a really good price, a complete New Adventure Skeletor with his cape. I have two different New Adventure Skeletors, and both of them are missing their capes, and one of them actually doesn't have an action feature, which is why I kept him. But my other one that does have an action feature has been missing his cape forever, and I managed to find this one, and I thought, well, I need the cape, and there's the whole figure, and he's in really great shape. The cape is starting to fray just a little bit here on the upper right-hand side, which is fine, because he's not going to get played with a whole lot. But it's nice to finally have a New Adventures Skeletor with a cape again, which is awesome, because I've needed one forever. So this little Skeletor is going to replace the one Skeletor I have, which is awesome. And I love the New Adventures. Of course, had all the action features, which are great. Yeah. I always liked Skeletor's action feature, because he just raised his staff to stop He-Man's sword from slicing. So. Some of the other stuff I found a couple Transformers, which are pretty cool. I actually found something that I wanted for a long time, which was this very cool Generation 2 Megatron. Now he's not complete. He didn't have the missile. He had a little handgun, I believe. Didn't have that, but he's in good shape. His battery compartment had quite a bit of corrosion. The batteries were still in there. They had long bombed out years ago. So I might be able to clean him up and get him to work again. But I'm not too concerned with him functioning properly again, just because I've always wanted a Generation 2 Megatron, and he's a really, really cool figure. And of course, super simple to transform just by opening the flaps on his legs. You can pop his legs. Let's do this. Pop his legs closed, like so. Bring up the tank body like so, and push it into place. The head flips forward, and then the gun slides over, which keeps that from popping up. Turn the arms around. And we have Generation 2 Megatron in his tank form. It's one of the only Generation 2 figures I really wanted, because it was a different iteration of Megatron. And while we've gotten a Generations version to represent this version of Megatron, I never did have an actual Generation 2 Megatron. So it's very cool to have him. And I love when you transform him back to his robot mode, when you get it all said and done, which is always fun, because it's such an easy transformation. That by sliding the gun over, watch this is fun, this is my favorite part. Yeah, his head pops out. It's pretty cool. I like Generation 2 Megatron. He's a very cool figure. And then, sticking with the Megatron motif, I actually had always wanted a a movie Megatron, and I happened to find one in a bin from a guy. I think I paid like maybe $10 for it, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less than that. But he's missing his right hand, and he was missing a head. But I had a head. Surprisingly enough, for some reason I had a loose movie Megatron head just sitting around. But so I've got a pretty semi-complete Megatron. Of course, he's missing this hand, which is sad. It was I believe either this one is the one that fired the missile. I think his hand fired out. I could be wrong on that. Because there were a few different movie Megatrons in this style over the years, but so I've got this. I've got a movie Megatron finally for my my movie Transformers collections. I never got him when he was out. I kind of regretted it, and now I have him, and now it's. I'm pretty happy with him. He's a decent figure. He's one of those figures that a lot of people don't really like, but I enjoy. And of course, he's got. I don't know if his. See his little chest piece pop up there when you. Yeah. The movie figures were a little odd. Let's face it, they were just a little strange, but they were still a cool, still kind of a cool line. I found one figure closer to finishing off my Robocop line. I found Birdman from the Robocop line with his weapon. Usually I buy these, I try to find these in package because it's easier to find them with their weapons and such, but he actually had his gun, so I wasn't too concerned about it. I think I paid like $3 for him with his gun. And the unfortunate thing is, of course, he didn't have his cap gun rolls, and as this cap gun piece in here is clean, it's never, ever, ever been used, so he's just got a little bit of chrome wear on his chest, but other than that, it almost seems like it was a figure that somebody just took out of the package and like threw away the cap firing rolls, which is kind of sad because I like to display all my Robocop figures with their rolls too, but he won't have his, so that's all right. Neat figure though. That's all it came with. This and the rolls and his little gun that the hook is detachable, so it pops off there, so he can use the hook to rescue people or capture crooks. It's a neat line. I'm missing 2 figures now, so I'm getting there. I'm getting close. I found another Hasbro WWE figure with his weapon. I found Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and he had his shears. I think I paid like $4 for Brutai. But Brutus is one of the figures that by pressing down on his back with your thumb and forefinger there and letting him go, he would fly. He would basically, he would leap into the air. And of course he had his shears. The weapons for a lot of the WWE, the little accessories, are kind of usually the first things that are lost. They're hard to find. So I've tried to pick up the ones that didn't come with accessories, and then as I get to the ones that have accessories, I try to find them loose, complete with the accessories, because it's just easier that way. And this was a nice little find for Brutus. I'm glad that I think I paid I think I paid $8 for him. So I mean, he had his shears. What do you do? He's a cool figure. I love the Hasbro WWE stuff. It's a great little line. I found a loose. I believe he was called Tall Terror Captain Hook from the Hook line, and I had one of his weapons, and I think I have his sheath that he came with somewhere. I got to find it. But the Hook figures, of course, not a great line of figures, but it was a Kenner line, and I'm a sucker for horrible Kenner lines. So, or actually, it was a Mattel line. I'm sorry, it was a Mattel line. But again, I'm a sucker for horrible lines. His legs, by pulling on them, he actually grew in size. So he would start out here, like a regular action figure, and then you pull on his legs, and not only could you see his pantaloons, which is really weird, but you could grow him, and he would become taller as to tower over the Lost Boys and battle. So found one of his little swords. He had another big sword, and he had a little sheath, but for some reason I had the weapons for he and Multi-Blade Hook just laying around, and I don't know what happened to the figures, but I had the weapons, so I got to dig the other weapons out still. Let's see what to show you next. I bought a bag of Aerators stuff right at the end of the show. And I had some of the items, but what I didn't have, and I believe it's the Dreadwind, is what I saw in the box. Now, it's missing some pieces, but it had all its hoses. It's missing another gun here on the side, and the clips are broke, so the guns don't stand there very well. But the little secret compartment here works really well. And there is it's supposed to have 4 missiles in here. I only put 2 in here right now, and I've got the other missiles. But the glider for this set was missing. So there's no glider, which is what's supposed to go here, but it had all 4 figures, and it's missing missiles. It actually had like almost like G.I. Joe missiles that went on the bottom of it there. So, but it also had a couple other vehicles that were incomplete that I already had, but it also had like a bag full of random Aerators figures that good guys and bad. So I got a bunch of extra random figures to put onto to add to my my twins. You know, the twin heirs. There's room for 2 more pilots in there, so I got to add those to it. But it's a neat vehicle. He's a little dirty, but other than the guns and the missiles and the glider, it's a nice little piece, and it'll make a great display piece. So it's. Plus, that's a really expensive vehicle to try to find these days from Aerators. The bigger vehicles are the ones that people always look for, and they're stupid expensive. I don't know why, but let's see. I found a just a newer item, but I didn't know existed until Dave actually told me it existed, because I found the James Bond, the submarine car, and he told me there was the Aston Martin from Goldfinger, and I found it at the show. Just the Aston Martin, just a newer Hot Wheel that I didn't actually know existed, and I was able to add. I like buying the licensed movie vehicles and such from Hot Wheels. I don't like Hot Wheels in general, but I love the licensed movie stuff because they're cool to have and display. So I found the Aston Martin. That was cool. Found some Pee-wee's Playhouse stuff here. I found the Puppet Land Band, which is awesome. So the little Puppet Land Band PVC figures here who don't really stand very well. He doesn't, at least. He's kind of... He doesn't want to stand hardly at all. Watch there. And then I found Zombie. Yeah. Zombie's, one side of Zombie's door is broke, but that's okay. This, and there was a broken Globie in there, which I have a Globie, but this whole bag was like $4, and usually you find, which these 3 came together in the same package. I saw a couple of them at the show, and people were asking $20-30 for them in package. So I figured $4 with a broken door and, you know, mostly complete. Who am I going to kid? I mean, yeah, you can tell the door's broken when you close it, but it's going to make a really cool display piece. So, plus Zombie's in there, so mecha-laka-ha, mecha-hane-hane-ho. It's cool. And the, you know, the Puppet Land Band are just hard to find, period, because they're so tiny. So, cool little collectibles there. Well, let's see. I found something I've been looking for a while. And I had seen, like my buddy Tom Chaos had found, he's found a couple over the years, and these usually sell for quite a bit of money because they were kind of hard to find. But this was from the Kenner line from Real Ghostbusters, and I happened to find the Slimer hand puppet, which is an awesome little hand puppet. His little eyes glow in the dark, and he's just a neat hand puppet. I mean, look at him. Look how cool he is, with his big tongue and his teeth hanging out there. Blarg. Blarg. Hello, everyone in Toy World Order Land. Welcome to the YouTubes. I am Slimer. I am a star. Yes. Yes. Usually these things sell for like a ridiculous amount of money, like $50. And more sometimes, but a guy had it for $20, and I've got the stuffed Stay Puft, so you know, Puppet Slimer was a good grab for me, I think. Puppet Slimer is awesome. I love Puppet Slimer. He's really cool. Sticking with kind of the stuffed animals motif, not a lot of people remember this from 1984, but it was a very short-lived Kenner line, and it had a toy line. It had a little toy line and a show. There was a little direct-to-video show, but it's Robot Man, and this comes from Kenner. It was Robot Man and Friends was the name of the line, and it was Robot Man, his girlfriend, which I don't remember her name, and then there was a little one. But he actually, I just put batteries in him today, and you open up his heart, and he shows off all this stuff here, and you. Plays a little song when you press his belly, and then of course his propeller at the top spun. His head was posable, so you could turn his head. Very cool. I've been looking for one of these for a while, especially Robot Man. And every time I'd find one, he was just ridiculous amount of money for Robot Man. But this gal had one for he was $4 because she didn't know if he worked or not. And I was able to pull the little. You're able to pull it out by there's a little Velcro slip in there, and the little battery part comes out. You can put a battery in there and check it, and he worked. And lo and behold, I have a working Robot Man. Very cool. A very neat little short-lived thing from Kenner that has a fond memory for me, because I remember seeing that show and thinking, oh, I like this a lot, and could never find anything from it. So, found a stuffed animal for the redhead that is married to me, my lovely wife, Carrie Devall. I actually found I'm not sure who made this, a Knickerbocker, which she's been collecting kind of Knickerbocker stuff, and I found her a Knickerbocker Goofy that she didn't have, that's actually dressed in blue jeans and a little red sweater with a yellow vest and a blue bow tie here, and a different Goofy that was kind of cool. Guy had it on his table. He had like varying sizes of Disney stuffed animals, and like the big ones were $10 and the small ones were $5, and he had a $10 tag on it, and I was like, does this technically fall under the small category? Because he's not as big as these other ones. Why is he $10? And he's like, oh, you seem like a good guy, for you, $5. So I was like, okay, thank you. Little Knickerbocker Goofy, and that's kind of been Carrie's thing with stuffed animals, is that she's been trying to collect Knickerbocker stuff. So that's the kind of the stuff she goes for. My buddy Dave Draper actually bought me a Christmas present yesterday. The guy wanted, originally it was $55, and we asked the guy, and the guy was like, I've had it for a while, it's not selling, $30, you can take it home. And at the time, it was one of the first tables we'd walked into, and I was like, I don't know, $30, it's just the start of the show, we just got here, and I don't know if I'm going to spend that much money right off the bat. And Dave was like, well, you know, Christmas is around the corner, why don't I get it for you as your Christmas present? I was like, well, I don't want you to do that, because, I mean, I appreciate it. And Dave's like, no, let you wanted it for a while, just let me get it for you, and we'll call it your Christmas present. I said, okay, that sounds awesome. But Dave found, we got the Fisher-Price Ralph puppet. Hey, everybody, I'm Ralph. The Ralph puppet is really cool, as opposed to some of the other puppets. The Miss Piggy puppet was a big, just rubber-headed puppet, of course. There was a Kermit puppet that wasn't this great. The Animal puppet and the Ralph puppet, I think, are two of the best pieces, because the Animal puppet had eyebrows that were articulated, and Ralph here looks just like the Muppet Ralph. I mean, it really does. Without, of course, they put your hands up in its own hands, but it's a very pliable mouth here. It's all rubber with felt. He's in really good shape. I mean, he looks beautiful. And I always wanted this puppet, so it's nice to have this Ralph puppet in my possession. Isn't that right? You like your new home? That's what I thought. Have you met Puppet Devall yet? I'm sorry. There, it'll be okay. The Ralph puppet, and that was a great Christmas present for my buddy Dave. A good little present from him. Now Ralph's gonna sleep now. Let's see. Found some other stuff for the redhead. Sticking with the Muppets theme, I found these. My buddy Josh Flood actually had set up at the show, and he had a booth, and he brought these specifically knowing that I would probably buy them, and he was right. These are from Hasbro in 1984, and they're these really cool little representations of the Muppet Babies here. So we got Piggy, Fozzie, we got Ralph, and we've got a Kermit. And these all have their heads are posable, so they all have turning heads, and they're all just sitting down. They're all just hard plastic. But they're really cute little renditions of the Muppet Baby, the Muppets as their Muppet Babies personas, which are really cool. I like them a lot. And Carrie, as she pulled each one out of the bag, she just kept going, "Aww, aww." No animal though. I don't think they did animal in this line, but these four were nice. So thanks to my buddy Josh Flood for thinking of me and bringing them in. That way I could see them and go, I kind of want those. I know someone who's going to love those a lot. So those are pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's see, on to the action figure stuff. I found a boxed Kenner Terminator 2 Heavy Metal Cycle. Oh. So I got the first vehicle out of the two vehicles in the line. As there's a big Terminator car, though, that I haven't gotten yet. But the Terminator Heavy Metal Cycle, which fires a missile, and it's a pretty neat little motorcycle that the Terminator figures can ride. But this gets me one step closer to completing that Kenner line, as big as it was, because there were so many different variants and re-releases and stuff. But the Kenner Heavy Metal Cycle is kind of neat. It's a cool little like it's got it's got the handlebars that are kind of funky because the handlebars connect like all the way down like near the tire. It's crazy. Finishing out the Kenner Shadow line, which I finished off the figures a while back thanks to one of the fans who actually had the figure that I needed. this finishes it off. I'm done with Kinner's the Shadow line. I found the Shadow's Mirage SX100. The actual Shadow car, which was the last vehicle I needed from the line. So I found a mitten box. A guy had a bunch of them, and I was like, I'm gonna buy one of those because I need one. I was supposed to get it from a buddy, from a guy that I knew from Facebook, but never responded to me. So this is all right because now I don't have to pay for shipping, and I just paid pretty much the same price I would have paid for it anyway. So the SX100, the Mirage, which is pretty cool. Glad to find that. That was kind of a big weight off my chest because it sounds silly because the Shadow figures are not great figures, but to have that line absolutely complete is awesome. It's great. Our buddy, whoa. I got stuff falling here. This actually was not a purchase. This actually was a gift from a friend of mine. It's actually let me get the little note out here. This was actually from my buddy Jason Miller, who is a Talon, who's the plastic geek over at actionfigurepics.com. He actually made these. These are pretty cool. These are actually a set of of coin face sculpts based on the original dinosaur power coin designs for Power Rangers, and these actually are made for the recent 2012-2013 Legacy Morpher, as they're too large to use with the original Morpher, but these can be used with the new Legacy. They are made, they are made out of, what did he say? They are made of, they're cast and painted by hand. They're a glittery glow-in-the-dark resin. So they, when charged with UV light, they do glow in the dark. They all have these nice little header cards as well as Plastic Geek toys. You can actually still, I believe, order these. If you go to plasticgeek.storeenvy.com, you can get a set of 7 of these, which is pretty cool. If you are a big Power Ranger fan, these are really worth picking up because everything is here. You know, you've got all the different power coins, which are pretty cool. It's pretty nice. These are really nice, and this was a really nice this was a really nice gift from Jason. He just kind of handed me and kind of handed Danny and I a package, and I was like, I didn't even expect that. Thank you, sir. Very cool though. Very neat little side project that he did that are really cool. So I'm actually gonna treasure those. And I don't have a Legacy Morpher though. I don't have the new Legacy Morpher. I didn't buy one, but they're still cool to have. I'm still happy that, you know, thanks to Jason for handing those. Those were really cool. I appreciate it, man. On to some action figure stuff. One more thing for the let's just move these here. I got a stack of stuff over here. It's gonna fall. One more thing for the redhead. Arco released a bunch of Disney characters in the 90s, early 2000s. I want to say it was the mid 90s. Arco did a bunch of Disney stuff, maybe late 80s. But I found this posable Carpenter Goofy figure on card, which is pretty cool. It comes with a bunch of accessories, like his little ladder and toolbox and saw and hammer. Little posable Goofy. And they had a bunch of these. They had like Astronaut Mickey, Pirate Mickey, and Cowboy Donald. And they had some play sets and some cars that the characters could ride in. So Arco did a whole bunch of these. So it was kind of a neat little find for Carrie. And I was like, oh, I think she'd like that. It's a little goofy item she didn't have. I found a table that he had just a bunch of like carded figures on the table, and they were all $4 a piece or 3 for $10. So I grabbed a bunch of them, and 2 of those that I found were I found a carded multi-blade Captain Hook, as well as a carded Rufio. So I have a complete multi-blade Hook and a complete Rufio. I had a Rufio figure, but I didn't have the board or his little sail, which are usually the things that you just can never find because the sail's always broken or gone. And I've seen multi-blade Captain Hook, and I have one of his weapons left, but I don't know where the other ones went. So it's nice to finally have a multi-blade Captain Hook, because he's got a swing-out secret sword, and his little weapons can connect. He can hold his little gun. So cool, you know, Hook line. Again, not a spectacularly great line, but one that I'm trying to collect as I've got most of the stuff that was released. There's a few figures that are really hard to get that I'm still trying to track down. So sticking back with the Pee-wee stuff, I found a carded King of Cartoons, which actually completes minus Cherry. I still gotta find Cherry, but the human figures from Series 1 are complete. because I have Pee Wee and Miss Yvonne and Cowboy Curtis. So King of Cartoons with his crown. I saw a bunch of these loose, but the crown's always missing. So this guy had it, and I managed to talk him down to $8. So not bad, but you know, his card's a little beat up. Of course, he's getting open, so he's going to be displayed, which we'll get to in a little bit. But King of Cartoons. I found on that same table I talked about, the guy had just a bunch of random figures. I had gotten a couple of the vehicles from James Bond Jr., the bad guy, the little sub-motorcycle, and James Bond Jr.'s car. I managed to find a number of the figures on that same table, like, I found the Ninja Gear James Bond Jr. there, and his neat little Ninja Gear, as he's got sword slice and quick kick action. These are these are not great figures, and I can't remember who made these. I think they were Hasbro. That's right. They were made by Hasbro, and that's not a great Hasbro line, but there's a lot of figures in this line. So I found that one. I found the Flight Gear James Bond Jr. I've got a loose Flight Gear James Bond Jr., but none of his gear. So now I have his parachute and his little head mask with the walkie-talkie. So I've got that. I managed to find Buddy Mitchell. Yeah, it's a horrible line, people. It's not great at all. But I managed to find Buddy Mitchell. I mean, look at him. Look at him smiling. And I found Gordon Leonard. And he comes with a little skateboard that has, when you push his little, I remember having this as a kid, when you push his little skateboard back, the little blade pops out. So I found Gordon, who was James Bond Jr., one of his friends, one of his best friends. So some James Bond Jr. stuff, which is such an odd, silly line. Then lastly, action figures. I actually found, and I left the price tag on here, but Playmates did a line of Wildcats figures, and I've got one of the figures. I believe I've got the Grifter, but I managed to find Voodoo, and she was $2. So I was like, well, I need Voodoo, so I'm going to buy her because she's $2. So Voodoo is pretty cool, though. I was glad to find her. Just one of those last-minute finds where I was like, I didn't see that before. I'm going to buy it. And last but not least, Josh Flood actually, on our fan group, on Toy World Order fan group, he was posting pictures of his setup the night before Kane County. As when you go to Kane County as a dealer, you set up on Saturdays for the Sunday sale. So he was showing pictures of his booth setup. And at the top of it, he had something that I really wanted. And I was like, what do you want for that? And he quoted me a price, and I said, okay, we'll talk on Sunday. And he managed to get me, for a good deal, but it's complete. It's never been put together. It's all there. It's in beautiful condition, of course. The box was open, but I found this magnificent, magnificent piece. This, my friends, is Pee Wee's Playhouse. This is an amazing playset from Matchbox. It is a vinyl playset. Here, I'll pull it out of here so you can see the actual playset. But it is there are pieces inside here, but it is a very big, very cool playset that pops open, clips at the top here, and then as you can see, you fold the mat down and you fold the sides out here. Now the sides will fold out, and you've got Pee Wee's Playhouse. It's a playset that I've wanted for a long time now. Something that I saw a couple of times at the Third Sunday Marketplace in Bloomington. A number of times Carrie and I went the first year we were going to that. This one guy had one in a box, and he wanted $40 for it. And I passed on it, never pulled the bullet, never pulled the trigger. And then the last, the one time we went, and I was like, I'm going to buy that Pee Wee's Playhouse if it's still here. It was gone. It was long gone. Somebody else had grabbed it, which when I saw this one, I was like, I got to have Pee Wee's Playhouse. I need that piece. I really want to display my Pee Wee characters and everything in it. So I have Pee Wee's Playhouse, which is awesome. So thanks to my buddy Josh Flood. Now, if you want to go to the Kane County Toy Show, the Kane County Doll and Toy Show, I should say, it happens every April and every October. And you can check out the address right there on your screen. It is in Chicago, up near Chicago, Illinois. So it is, we are right smack dab in the Midwest, but a little bit of a drive for some people. I know a lot of people come from out of town for this show because it is the largest toy show in the nation. And usually when people show up, I've heard some complaints this last show about prices being eBay prices and stuff. Not really. If you look and you look at everything and you find those dealers are not opposed to haggling, to lowering prices. I mean, a lot of those dealers are just, you know, what you don't understand with that show, and a lot of people don't get this, is that a lot of those dealers go in the middle of the week. They drive down Wednesday. There's a hotel they all stay at on Thursday and Friday. And what they do is on those 2 nights, they basically open the door to the hotel room, and they've got their booth set up in their room. And all the dealers go from room to room and buy stuff off each other. And they make a lot of money those 2 nights. I mean, a lot of money. As well as Saturday, there's an early bird special, which you can pay $50 as a public, you know, as the public. You can pay $50 and get in on Saturday, the day before the convention. When the show happens, it's $9. When you go on Saturday, it's $50. And you get to get in early while the dealers are setting up and shop as the dealers are setting up. So the dealers have made all the money they could pretty much make if they're having a good weekend before the show even starts. So Sunday, they're not opposed to haggling prices. And a lot of people just don't even bite to the ass. They see a price or hear a price and they're like, whatever. We haggle. We try. We do everything. You know, what'd you take this for? What'd you think about this? What's your lowest price? I mean, my buddy Dave found a $6 million man Bigfoot figure, for God's sakes, for... I think he paid $95 for it, and it's complete, it's loose, it's beautiful condition, it works, it's gorgeous. So you just gotta ask people. Make sure you check out the website though, and you can see all the details and get more information about the Kane County Doll and Toy Show. So there you go, gang. There's a look at my Kane County haul for this October. I'll be back with another Kane County haul in April when we go again, when we hit C2E2 and Kane County all in that same weekend. So I'll be back hopefully real soon with some more great stuff, including reviews from Puppet Devall and myself, as well as new episodes of Collection Expansion Extravaganza and a lot more. So make sure you subscribe to us. Go to youtube.com/ToyWorldOrder. Hit subscribe. It would help us out greatly. And also go to youtube.com/BoardTheShow. There's an oddity for you for once for one of these toy shows. I didn't buy any board games, because I was like, I think we've got enough right now, guys. I really don't need any more board games. But you can go to youtube.com/BoardTheShow and hit subscribe to that as well, and see the shenanigans of myself, Pixel Dan, Puppet Devall, and all our great guests. So there you go, gang. And until next time, keep digging, because you never quite know what you're going to find. Take care.